is lecture what? It's got to be lecture number 7 right now, right? The last time was 6, lecture number 7. Yes, we had a question. First of all, before I continue with the next chapter, students got a very simple question. All right, one is over, right? And the question is, where did they get this 20? Can you explain the 20 again? And the explanation is very simple. You got January all the way to December 31st is 12 months. And for 12 months, the bond is paying annual. I repeat, annual. For 12 months, 8%. If it's paying 8%, this means that the semi-annual is for half year 4. So you split a year in 2, and the first half gets 4%, and then the second half gets 4%. 4% out of 1,000 principal, when you multiply 4% by 1,000, gives you 40. So the first coupon is $40 for the first half of the year and $40 for the second half of this year. This is January. Here I'm going to write on top July. So July 1, January 1 is the coupon payment, July 1 is the coupon payment. So you have for July till December a total coupon of $40. And here's a simple example now to understand. If now is August, you have 1 month pass and 5 months to go. You have earned 1/6. This is how much you've earned. If it's August, you hold it for 1 month during July. Out of 6, you take 1 out of 6, multiply by 40, which is the coupon for 6 months. And if you held it until from July 1 until August 1, you get 1/6 of 40. How much is 40 divided by 6? Anyone? Somebody's got to use a calculator. I don't know. 6 point whatever, $7, all right? 7 times 6, 42. So 6.7, about, okay? Well, now the question is, how did I calculate the 20? Well, very simple. You have August, you have July, August, September, October, November, December 1. So if you have 6 months and you hold it for 3, this means that you have earned 1/2 of 40. So 3 out of 6. This is 3 months out of 6 for semi-annual coupon. Multiply by 40 is equal to 1/2 out of 40, and that's 20. And this 20 is this 20 over here, okay? Well, what about this 20? So the first 20 corresponds to, this corresponds to July, September, okay? Well, if the full coupon is 40, from July to September is 20, obviously from October till December, this is 3 months, and this is 3 months. For 3 months, you're going to be earning 20. Okay? And that's it. That's all there is to it. All right? So for 1 month, you're going to be earning 20 divided by 3, whatever the number is. Okay? And that's the simple explanation. All right? Okay, let's see what else we have now. Now we move on to chapter 3. And chapter 3 is, chapter 3 is yield. And that's on page 35. Now we get next to page 36, which is computing the yield. Well, as I've been explaining before, yield is exactly the same concept as internal rate of return. An internal rate of return is what you've studied in elementary finance, financial management, and corporate finance. And let's provide a very simple definition. You have a price, which we can properly call market price. And market price will equal, let's see how we have it. Cash flow 1, same story. Cash flow 1 plus Y. That's the called discounted cash flow for the first year, plus cash flow 2, 1 plus Y squared. This is the discounted cash flow for the second year, plus cash flow 3, 1 plus Y to the power of 3. Again, discounted cash flow for the third year, plus a few more years, and the last payment, whether with a principal or no principal, whether it's a project for oil refinery or dorm or university, for any cash flow of any project or any security, cash flow N, that will be the last cash flow, 1 plus Y to the power of N. And that's the so-called present value formula, okay? And you have a particular price, market price, which you observe. So, yield is simply Y is simply this Y, which when you take the cash flows and Y equals the price. That's it. So, basically, you try. Suppose yield is 1%. When you get the cash flows, use yield 1%, is it going to give you the price? If no, try 2%. If no, try 3%. If no, try 4%. Because this is an equation of power n, usually you don't have an explicit calculation. When you don't have an explicit calculation, you cannot calculate it mathematically. You have a number of options. Option number 1 is you guess, like I just suggested. You guess 1%, or 2%, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, and see which of these is closest to the actual price. Okay? And then you begin to what's called interpolate. Suppose that for 1%, the price, when you calculate the price, will give you 135. For 2%, it's going to give you 130. For 3%, it's going to give you 124. For 4%, I'm just picking numbers, okay? You're going to get 115. For 5%, you're going to get 100. For 6%, you're going to get 85. And you simply calculate. You already know the cash flow. You just use Y equal to 1, Y equal to 2, Y equal to 3, Y equal to 4, Y equal to 5, equal to 6. And now comes the simple question. Well, what's actually the price? Well, the price you observe on the market. Or, if it's a project, you estimate the cost of a project. How much is going to cost to build a stadium, or to build a dorm, or whatever. And they say, oh, the price that you actually see is going to be 110. So I say, if price is equal to 110, then how much is the yield? Well, if the price is 110, the yield will be between 4 and 5%. The yield's going to be a little, less than 5, but definitely more than 4. And if it is 110, it looks to me like it's going to be 4.3, maybe 4.4%. Between 4 and 5, but closer to 4, like 4.4%. Well, that's what the yield is. Yield is that particular percentage here that equates the discounted cash flows to the price. And that's exactly how bond yields are calculated. For a bond, you can see what the price is. You say, oh, the price is 85. Well, the price is 124. And based on the cash flows, which is the coupon, you calculate the yield. So one type of calculation is, calculation. One type of calculation is trial and error. Kind of like what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and which one is closest. And then you start working between 4 and 5. How are you going to work between 4 and 5? 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, and see which of these is going to nail it close to 110. And that's trial and error. They show you, I think, something very similar on pages 36 and 37. You just say, well, there are other ways. Back in the good old days, when finance was real, okay, they used tables. You have a table, you have the coupon, you have the maturity, and the table gives you a simple reference. This price, this yield. This price, this yield. This price, this yield. That's how I did it 20 years ago when I was a student like you. For everything, bonds, present values, everything. Mortgages, for everything we use simply tables. It was simple, easy, straightforward. Okay? You guys now are a modern generation. You got Excel. Excel has built-in functions, easy, straightforward. You punch in whatever the numbers are. You have a function in Excel. Boom, does it for you. Number 4. You got calculators. Some of you I saw were bringing in financial calculator. And of course, financial calculator will be doing similar type of trial and error interpolation. That's how it's called, interpolation. And a financial calculator will also do it for you. Okay? And that's the one. And the last one is, because you are the Google generation, you go and just search it up on Google. Google's going to tell you the answer. Google. You actually have what's called financial calculators on the web. Web's got a whole bunch of financial calculator. I'm sure there's going to be financialcalculator.com website. And it's going to give you all sorts of present, future values and all the other stuff. So this is what the calculation is. And the special case is for the calculation only when you have one cash flow. When you have one cash flow, it's a direct calculation. So you got a simple loan or what we call the zero coupon bond. The calculation is straightforward. You can use a regular calculator or just calculate it by hand. Okay, let's see what we have. Page 38. Page 38 gives you the concept of annualization. To annualize means to convert to 1 year. You have a number of different interest rates. First one is called simple interest rate. And they can give you simple interest rate of, for example, 8%. When I have a simple interest rate, that's it. They just tell you it's 8% a year. But the question is, how often is the payment made? If the payment is made twice a year, you have to recalculate it to what's called compound, which is the same as you need to annualize the simple to compound. Compound. Now, how you do the compound calculation? Well, if it is semi-annual, this means that the semi-annual payment is 4%. You just say 1.04 and then you raise to the power of 2. Now, this 4 is called, it's got a special name. It's called periodic interest rate. Periodic interest rate. Okay. And the periodic interest rate equals the simple interest rate, simple, divided by the number of periods. All right. Now, anyone has a calculator, right? You got the financial calculator. Let's try to do some simple and easy examples for you to understand. Suppose the simple annual interest rate is 8%. Now, what is the semi-annual periodic? Semi-annual periodic means what's the periodic for 6 months? So, you say 6-month periodic is simply 8% divided by 2 because you have 2 periods. And because I assume 2 periods, this 4% becomes this. So, if 4% is the coupon, we say now that the total return, periodic total return is simply 1 plus the periodic rate. Okay? So the periodic return is 1, that's the principal, and 4% is the periodic interest rate, is this 4, is this 4, is this 4. And this 1.4 is this 1.4. So we calculate the compound by taking the periodic interest rate 4%. Then take the periodic return, which is 104 for the 6 months, and then raise to the power of number of periods. If it's periodic for 6 months, you got 2 periods, you raise to the power of 2. Now, what's going to be the quarterly periodic interest rate? Quarterly. So you have quarterly periodic interest rate. What's the quarterly? Again, what's the quarterly periodic interest rate? 2%. First of all, the annual, simple annual is 8%. Quarterly means that the length of period is 1 quarter. This means that you have 4 periods. So 8% is the annual divided by 4 periods means that the quarterly is 2%. And therefore the quarterly return will be 102. That's the quarterly return, right? This is 2%. So for 1 quarter, you're going to be getting 102, 1.02. Now, when you compound it, meaning you annualize quarterly, because it's for 3 months, and you have 4 times, you got to raise it to the power of 4. And that's how you get the compound. So, what is important to understand is that if the simple interest rate is 8%, if you have only 1 period in the year, then it's equal to 8. If you got 2 periods, like 6 months, it's going to be 104 to the power of 2. If you got 4 periods, it's going to be 102 to the power of 4. Well, if it's 12, what's going to happen? If it's 12, it's going to be 8 over 12, right? This is 8 over 12. So the monthly periodic return is going to be 3 over 4. Okay. So this is going to be 0.75%. 0.75. That's is that one? That's not
No,
3
no.
over 4. 2 divided by
2
3.
over 3.
Huh?
2 over 3.
2 over 3. 2 over 3. And 2 over 3 is 0.666.
Yeah.
The number of the beast. You know that? Yeah. Okay. Point. 666. That's the monthly return. Okay. So to annualize, to compound it, you get 1.00666 to the power of 12. Okay. And that's how you calculate for anything. You've done this in corporate. You should have done this many times in corporate finance, have you? In financial management, right? Okay, so this means I can give it next time with a quiz, right? Okay. And with this is the section done on the annualizing yield. So the annualization is pages 38, 39. Annualized, I'm going to delete and write here, page 38, 39. So you know what I'm talking about. And we've got about 20 minutes left to discuss the second, which is the most important section of this chapter. Oh, I'm running out of board over here. To discuss conventional yield measures, right? Conventional yield measures, page 39. So we've got a brand new section coming up, and there's a lot of stuff to cover over here. there's a good chance I won't be able to complete now. We'll complete next lecture. That's what we're doing over here. And the first one, conventional yield measures, got 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of them, is 1. Current yield. Current yield is actually amazingly simple. It is simply the coupon or the coupon payment divided by the current price. There's no fancy calculation, there's nothing. It's just coupon divided by price. And here's a simple example. Again, everything, we need basic simple examples for you to illustrate. Coupon of 8%. Coupon 8%. And the bond selling at a 20% discount. If a bond is selling at 20% discount, what is its price? Anybody? Yes, 20% discount from the face value. Well, if it's selling at 20% discount from the face value is 1,000 always. 20% discount means 20% off, which is $200 off. So it's going to be selling at 80% of face value, which is 800. So on an 8% coupon, payment will be 80. So coupon 8% means 80 is the coupon, all right, and the price is 800. This is the same as equal, gives you a current yield of 10%. Interestingly enough, as the textbook says that there is no consideration given to capital gains because you don't know what's going to be capital gain and all the other stuff. This turns out to be a very good approximate measure. This is not exact. This is not mathematically perfect. It's not mathematically correct. But actually, in the real world, it is a very good approximation. For any bond, you take a look at what's the coupon, take a look at what's the current price. You can immediately calculate the current yield, and you know that the what we call actual yield of the true yield, whatever the true yield is going to be amazingly close. So for real world, for example, for ordinary investors, this is really, really, really good approximation. Now, for a professional bond manager who tries to implement extremely sophisticated techniques and he's running a multi-billion-dollar portfolio, that's not good enough, okay? Because tiny percentage error on a multi-billion-dollar portfolio will result in $1 million of calculational errors. So if you're running billion-dollar portfolio, you want to be perfect. If you're just going to be investing $5,000, it doesn't matter. Current yield is really good. Number 2, yield to maturity. And yield to maturity has a special, it's called YTM, special abbreviation, yield to maturity. And it is simply the yield that you will receive if the investor holds the security, meaning the bond, until it matures. If you hold it until it matures, you know for sure each coupon payment, and you know for sure the maturity, meaning how many periods. So it is a simple elementary mathematical calculation. And of course, students will usually punch it in the calculator to get what's the yield to maturity. And this is most commonly the measure which is reported. It is the yield to maturity. And this is the one which you study and you're very familiar with. Let's see what else they have here. Yield to call. Well, this applies to bonds that have a call provision. Again, for those of you who just took the exam, call provision means that the issuer can call back the bond whenever is agreed. For example, they may call back the bond after 5 years of holding it, all right? So if it's a 10-year bond, they can call it on year 5, or year 6, or year 7, or year 8, and so on. A call bond will have what's called a call schedule. And the call schedule is simply a table that lists all call dates and a call date is a date on which the issuer has the right to call the bond if they want to call it. So I'm just giving an example. For 5, if it's a 10-year bond, after year 5, you can call the bond one time a year. So this is going to be January 1, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. It's going to be each call date. So the call schedule is going to give you a call date, and it's going to give you the call price. So it basically says you want to call it on 2016, the price is going to be 106. You want to call it on 2017, the price is going to be 105. You're going to call it on 2018, the price is going to be 104. Basically, it is written in the bond indenture upfront. When you're buying the bond, before you buy the bond, if it has a call provision, you already have a call schedule. You see what the schedule is. If you like the schedule, you can buy it. If you don't like it, you're not going to buy it. Or if you don't like it, you will bid a lower price. So if investors don't like the call schedule, they will lower the price, okay? If they really like it, they can raise the price, okay? So the call schedule will be part of the current price of the bond. So you have a call schedule which tells you the date and it tells you the price, okay? And based on the date and the price, you can say yield to first call. First call is 4 years from now. The price you already see is 105 at which you can call it. If that's the case, you observe the current price. You simply calculate by using the coupons that final price after, let's say, 4 years. So yield to first call is simply the yield if the bond will be called on the first date available in the call schedule. In other words, on the first call date. That's it. That's yield to first call. Then you have yield. Everything is on page 41. Are you following on page 41? So this is page 41. Now continuing on page 41. Yield to next call. Yield to to next call means you are already past the first call date, and they could have called it, but they haven't. And the next call, maybe 3 months from now, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, you know what date is today, all right? And you see what's the next call date. And whenever is the next call date, you see the call price. If there is a coupon, you calculate and use the coupon. You punch it in Excel or the calculator, and you get the yield to next call. That's it. So, if there's been no call so far, you get it to the first. If there's been already, you get it to the next one, whenever the next one is coming. Let's see what else. There's another one called yield to refunding. Now, let me explain what is refunding. To refund is exactly the same, what I explained a few lectures ago, is to refinance. And refinancing or refunding means issuing new debt to pay the old debts. Okay, that's refinancing. Issuing new debt to pay the old debt. Well, why would a corporation, any issuer, want to refund or refinance? Well, the answer could be sometimes they'll need the money, sometimes they won't be able to pay it all when it's due, but the most common reason is we're paying 8% interest and now interest rates have fallen down to 4%. We want to refund, meaning issue new bonds at 4%, call the old bonds that they're paying at, and stop paying 8% and start paying 4%. Okay? In other words, you would want to refinance because the new interest rate is going to be lower. You're going to save money on interest rates because interest rates have fallen since you issued your old bond. Okay? Well, refunding, that's called refunding or refinancing. Well, many bonds will have refunding restrictions. If you buy a 10-year bond, there will be, and there may be different calls, they may be explicitly prohibited just because interest rates have fallen that next year they can refund. Or 2 years later, they can refund. So there's going to be a refunding restriction. It's going to say, if it's a 10-year bond, you cannot refund for at least 5 years. In other words, you can refund only after 5 years. So, yield to refunding means, oh, it's a 10-year bond, 1 year has already passed, now there are 9 years left. For the first 5 years, you got a restriction. For the last 5 years, you can refund. This means that they cannot refund for another 4 years. And if they can't refund for another 4 years, this means that the first refunding can come after 4 years. Well, if it comes after 4 years, you will calculate yield to refunding, assuming that after 4 years, they will refund at the call price 4 years from now. And that's yield to refund. Okay? Let's see what else. In other words, what I was explaining is that for some period it cannot be refunded. It's called non-refundable. So, what I've been explaining is that if it's a 10-year bond and now it's 2011 and it matures on 2021, for the first 5 years it is non-refundable. refundable, and for the other 5 years it will be refundable. This is just an example. It may happen that it's non-refundable for 7 years, or for 8 years, or for 5 years. Or it may be that the bond is non-refundable, means it can never be refunded just because interest rates fell. So when you're buying bonds, you have to be extremely careful. And that's what I was explaining previous hour. That's what makes fixed income investing and bond investing so complex. You may have yields, you may have yield to call, to first call, to next call, to refunding, to it may be non-refundable for a while and then become refundable. It may be puttable, okay? And that's where it is. Now, before getting to that, it's called first par call. You see, what I'm trying to explain to you is that the whole thing is complex. First par call means that you're going to have a call date, you're going to have a call price. Maybe 1 year before it matures, or 2 years before it matures, the call price will be simply par. So what they're going to say is, let's create a call date. Call date 2016, 20 call. 2016, 2017, 2018. Before 2016, it's non-callable, okay? 2019, 2020. Well, the call price will be respectively 105, 104, 102, 100. And then over here it's going to be again, let's say 100. All right? So if they want to call it a 216, they must pay you 1,050. Price call is, quoted as 105. Well, they must pay you, if they call it a 2017, is 1,040. Or if they call it a this. So the first par is this. So, if they call it at first par, the first par comes at 2019. You will calculate the yield for 2019 using par. And that's called first par call. This is going to be first par, okay? Or first par call. And first par call will refer to the year 2019. So 8 years from now, they can call it at par, and this is the first year they can call it at par. And you calculate the yield, assuming that they're going to call it in 2019, 8 years from now, and that they're going to call it at par. And that's it. Is it time? Let's see if I have anything else. No, that's it. So I have a few more which I'll finish next time. All right, is this good enough? All right, camera.